anyway, it was white and the balls that you see are black were actually a natural colored wood. They're made out of birch, and they were just stained or covered. It has one piece going through the center that's actually African mahogany. The rest of it was white, and I just, I've started into my color phase of my sculpture. So losing my voice, I have no water here. So anyway, so I decided I would paint it this red color that I just did a piece in, and paint the balls black, give it more contrast. And it just seemed to really pop after I did that. So, and then
how in the world did you paint that when it was all constructed?
I painted the balls first, spray painted the balls first, and then I taped them off with blue tape, as well as the African mahogany piece with blue tape, and then I just used a brush. It's all brushed on with several coats.
Wow.
And yeah,
it has a very the red color gives it a really modern, contemporary look. I really like it.
I could not believe how it changed the piece. It just totally changed the piece. So anyway, turned out well.
Yeah, good.
Yes, beautiful.
So I did a little research on sculpture because I like everything that's been said about this one, but here's what I think is of course the computer isn't going to work. The slides aren't. Oh, here, sculpture. You know how I liked St. Andrew, and I liked when you take a piece of wood and you work with the curves and the movement. So I came to find out these words that what you're doing now is called assembling, I believe. It's an additive sculpting technique. And what I was used to seeing you do was carving, where you subtracted things from the piece, you and Barry. So I think I'm a
yes, I agree, Joan. Yeah. I agree.
I'm drawn to carving stuff where you can feel the movement in the piece, but I'm getting used to this assemblage stuff. As you said, the color really made it come out. So.
Yeah, it's I don't really pay attention to what whether it's carving, assembling, or modeling. It's to me, it's just I just go with the flow of as it comes to me. I don't spend a lot of time designing. I don't sketch a lot of things out. I do sometimes sketch it.
It's a creation. You're just creating.
Yeah, and it's my studio is a total mess right now, and sometimes I'll put things down next to each other, and I'll go, "Wow, that looks really cool next to that," and then it kind of goes from that sometimes. And I just don't. I don't know where it comes from, but it just comes to me. So, and I've just gone with it because and then if it's hard, then I just kind of back off and go on to something else.
Well, you sure are in a creative.
As we're doing now.
Yeah.
Segue.
Yeah.
Chris.
I wasn't sure my buttons were going to work, so I thought I'd try it and just make sure. Chris sent 3 things.
Yes, and all 3 of them were done in this free class that I took. And so, my goal for all 3 of them was to make them all different. So this is the first one. And I don't know if you want to scroll through, Joan.
Sure.
I don't know what to say about it.
And here's the third. So I'm going to back it up.
Yeah. Okay, and there's all 3 of them.
Scott missed it.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So
I had to put the dog out.
Oh, okay.
There's a ton of layers on it, a ton of collage, some graffito, scratching, and a little bit of everything in this. So this one turned out more, I guess floral looking.
I think
the other one
Well,
I love the high contrast on this.
Yeah, and I like the layout, the composition. And
I have a lot on one side and a little bit on the other. That's how they all were supposed to be. That asymmetrical, a lot on one and a little bit.
that's
I don't know
why,
if I achieved that.
that's what really draws me to your work. And they call it luminosity when you build up all the layers and you get this
Ah,
shimmering depth. Yeah,
cool.
I love
Chris,
it.
can I ask you a question about your collage? Have you done a lot of things on paper or something that you've cut apart from the past or something? How do you keep coming up with these very interesting, different pieces of collage materials?
Well, a lot of them are failed paintings.
Okay.
So I just
On
cut
paper,
them all
right?
up, the paper on paper. Some of them I do intentionally, like I do a lot of black and white, especially if I'm
Mhm.
not feeling very creative. I'll just go in and make black and white marks and, you know, paint and whatever on paper and tear them up for later. That's mostly how I get all my stuff. And then some of it is printed stuff, you know, from magazines and newspapers, which I'm starting to use a little bit more lately.
Yeah.
But then
In
your
fact, one of
skill
these
is to be
pieces-
able to pick out certain pieces and pull them all together into your main composition, which I think is definitely your strength, your composition, your
Thank
color.
you. Thank you.
I think primitive. is
try.
another word. There's another word is called primitive.
Hmm.
It's
Ah,
it's the scratchy stuff makes it look like it's spontaneous and it's
Cave drawings, right? Maybe
yeah
primitive in the way that, yeah, the scratches are intentional and they send a message.
they do. Thank you for that, Nancy.
yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Nancy.
that's nice. I like that.
No,
Okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Joy.
Yeah, I really like this one because Chris is use the colors very smart. You know, a
Exactly.
little bit, yeah, very little tiny warmer color at that part, like
Exactly.
orange, between orange and the red. I don't know how to say that color. It's very effective and just
Oh, thank you.
caught your eyes immediately.
Mhm, mhm.
Balance.
That
Oh,
blue,
thanks.
very smart.
Yeah.
Well, I try to, you know, put a little bit of warm and cool together.
Yes.
I think it does make a difference.
Do the
And,
contrasty thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Chris used black color, very special.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And just put over there and looks like just put over there, but it's jump out.
It kind of anchors the whole thing. This large area of black and this large background with the white, the dirty white. They kind of hold everything together, and then you make our eyes go around with these little colors here. Beautiful work.
That's
Oh,
right.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Very
like
nice.
it. It has so much in the composition of it. I mean, you have like that line, the black at the top. It's like perfect. It shouldn't have gone lower. It shouldn't have gone higher. It's a perfect spot. And then I get relaxed looking at the leaves and things and going, oh, that's really nice. And then all of a sudden I notice that square cut black and white right there and to the left, in the left quadrant. And then it's like,
This here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I go, what is that? And then it makes me work. And then it makes me work. And that's really good, I think, Chris.
That's right.
That's what I
Well,
like your
thank
stuff.
you.
And
I
I think it
appreciate
really
it.
works the contrast that you're shooting for, which is the people have called it primitive, but it's those sections of it. It just makes you work when you look at this piece. And
It's not predictable.
right,
You don't
exactly.
expect to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, the symmetrical pieces are the ones that get kind of boring.
They
And
do.
the kind of
Yeah, that's-
negative space of that, lower right really calms it all down as your eye travels through that painting. So
Yeah,
it's a very, very good balance.
yeah,
Chris, very, very
absolutely.
good.
Totally agree. Mhm.
Thank you.
Nice, very nice.
On the other hand,
It's
Mm.
kind of
Love
crazy.
it.
Well,
see
I
a
tried to
city.
make this one. Well, yeah, I tried to make it architectural, and
Mhm.
I called
Yes.
it past,
Yeah.
present, and future because I've got a lot of the past old types of structures in there, and then some newer, more modern lines in it, which which are those kind of square, vertical, horizontal, orange things in the
Mhm.
background.
Yeah.
And it's kind of busy, but I tried to make it different from the other one.
yeah. Well,
That's
once
good.
again, your black and white in the back holds all the shapes together.
Yeah,
Well, good, good. Thank you.
yeah, it's beauty. I can recognize.
I had fun. I really had fun doing these because I was pretty free and, I didn't really care where the collage was going. And then I, pretty much refined the composition a lot later. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
Where did you find a 16 by 16 square canvases? Are those exclusive to Italy? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen 16 by 16s. You get
Well,
20 by
it's,
20s, but
No, it's 16 by 20 and I cut it off to make it square.
thank you. Perfect. Good idea.
Yeah.
And here's my favorite. Your kids got these two, and
Yes.
did I say dibs on this one?
Yes, you did.
Wow.
This is
Oh, the dancing.
this is what I love. It just has my eyes moving all over the whole thing, and then the little touches of color in front. Serendipity.
Well, this one, I mean, this was the hardest one for me to do
Really?
because I think the black area was too big. So it just kind of overpowered everything. So in the end, I mixed some Payne's gray with white and a little black to get that kind of slate gray
Mm-hmm.
for parts of the background to just calm down all the black. Then that became boring. So then I added the white pen lines to just make it a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also, in this one, I used oil pastels. So the leafy looking things are all oil pastels.
Mm.
Did you dilute them with turpentine at all, or
Nope.
no?
I just used them right from the stick.
It's a very musical
That's
composition to me. It's almost as if that vase of flowers could lift up off the table. I mean, it's such movement in it. It's really, really glorious.
So that's interesting you say that, Nancy, because this is the only piece I had music on when I was doing.
That's
I was
right.
painting it.
Yeah, we can see it's dancing.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the key. Play
There
music.
you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, they were fun
trio.
to do.
Lovely trio.
The broad brushwork on these petals is really, really nice. It's just
Mhm.
Thank you.
I think
I
without
appreciate
without the white lines, this would be a much different piece.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't it.
boring.
And then you're at, yeah. Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you guys.
And now we move to something a little different.
Oh,
Selfie.
Oh, cool.
When I was at the Getty in this huge museum, guess where all the crowd was? In front of this one. You could hardly, I had to wait for people to move.
Wow.
It's one of his most famous, it's the irises. And
Yeah.
we all know he cut his ear off. He had a mental health problem. And it just says during his recuperation, he started painting in the asylum garden, and irises is one of the main paintings he did there. And he did a close study of nature. And it says here that we feel this in the painting: strong colors, thickly applied paint, and powerful decorative rhythms, all of which convey the artist's sense of nature's surging vitality. So here's a close-up. You don't have to look at me, but this is just a document COVID.
Yes.
Well,
The
in
record.
Rome, we're going to be having a Van Gogh exhibit. So I'm going to go. It's going to start sometime in October. So that, I mean, I've never seen a lot of his work. I've seen bits and pieces every now and then. So this should be interesting.
lucky you.
Yeah.
Joan, isn't it glorious to see those actual paintings in person? I mean, here it's very, this is very two-dimensional and flat, but to see that thick paint, that three dimension is amazing. Then your whole interpretation of Van Gogh changes when you see his actual paintings in person.
Yeah. Well, he did have a lot of passion in his brushwork, like a crazy man.
Yes.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Well, I think he wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
Lucky for us, otherwise you wouldn't get these beautiful works.
yeah, yeah.
My
Right.
favorite.
I always wonder how he applied his paint. Like the bottom section there, the reddish orange.
Mhm.
How in the world do you get so many colors in those strokes?
Yeah. Wow.
Just multiple layers. You talk about multiple layers that you use on paper. When you see his canvases, you see how many layers of tiny little brush strokes are laid over.
Mhm.
It's
Wow.
almost
Beautiful.
impressionistic, but it's obviously post-impressionistic.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
you're
very
gonna tell.
textured.
I got a real quick story, and I'll make it real quick. I went to an exhibit at the Contemporary Art Museum in LA, and I went with a friend, and this friend loved to read everything, and they had those little blocks of narrative things about the artist. And I don't remember too much about the exhibit. And when we were done, the friend turned to me and said, "Gee, it seems like every one of these artists has a mental problem." I said, "What are you insinuating?"
Yeah.
Could be
No,
true.
but it's funny that so many great artists,
Yes.
and I think it's, and my take on the thing is that they've broken out of that box.
Mhm.
You know, they're willing to take the risk because they're crazy. You know,
Yeah.
I think they all
that
have pain. I think they all have some form of pain that has
Yeah.
to come out, whether it was Da Vinci or Van Gogh or whatever.
The only one that doesn't seem to have pain is Chris Ames.
Oh no.
She just
You
has,
never know.
she just has fun and serendipity. No,
She's
you
married
never
to an
know.
Italian and she knows passion. Gets that out.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
very-
it.
Now go from the vibrant colors and brushwork to Barry's. He couldn't be here, as I said, and this is
Wow.
it's an old one he did, and
Oh, I love
he
this.
said he had fun.
30 by 24. Whoa.
I think what I really like, it's almost like a mosaic. I like the way the white lines are all the same width, rather than some being thick and some being thin. I think it really holds it together, being all the same thickness. So
He's a very
Almost like a
careful artist.
diptych.
mhm. It's very what?
Yeah.
No, it looks like almost like a diptych. Like they
Yeah.
did two separate pieces.
Mhm. Yeah. Well,
What balance he
Very
has though
nice.
with the two birds on one side and the the one on the right. It's such good balance. His compositions are always amazing.
mhm, mhm. That helps the asymmetry. So
That's right.
so then here we go.
Very nice.
I was
Beautiful.
going to do, before we do Joy's, she's going to be explaining her 4 pieces, but I did do a preliminary to explain it a little bit more. Her works are about the 4 elements, and I only heard about that when I was studying Buddhism, but I had no idea the ancient Greeks believed in it.
Huh.
That we are all comprised of earth, fire, water, and air. And when I saw my mom die, it was 10 hours of her laying there. I did see the last thing to go was the air. And then the fire would be the temperature of your body, and then the earth would probably be the bones that are going to deteriorate, and the water that we have in our system. So we are indeed all made up of these things. And then it also says around 450 BC, Aristotle added to that. And then that it's a core belief among Buddhists, particularly Tibetans, that when we die, these 4 elements leave our body. So I'll turn it over to Joy.
Thank you, Jill.
In fact, let me go through quickly. Earth, fire, water, and air, wind or air.
Those are all beautiful.
Oh,
I especially
Thank
like
you.
earth.
Earth. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, this earth, and actually the technically is not doesn't have much difference, but it's a color. I just use the color like earth, and yeah, abstract for me is watercolor is much better than acrylic.
mhm.
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 And then the fire here.
Wow.
Fire is difficult for me to do that. I just choose changing the red color and the yellow. But it looks like it's not fire.
It looks like California when I see pictures on the news,
California
heartbreaking
fire.
of the fires. This is what I feel when I see this.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. I just want to show the smoke. Smoke
Yeah.
come out.
Did you lift paint off the paper? How did you get that muted, cloudy effect?
And just
Or
water.
just wash? Just water. Okay.
Just
Yeah,
water.
spray.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's beautiful, Joy.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You know, my very favorite though, and it's, you know, art is very subjective. So my favorite is this one here.
Wow.
It's a wow to me. Remember years ago when Faya told us some elements that are required in order to have something be, like, say, award winning? She said it had to have a wow factor.
Wow.
For me, this has a wow. Especially, I adore what's going on right here, the detail, and I think overall, the whole thing acts as a unit. It's all contained. Whereas I think maybe for me, personal choice, of course, these kind of bleed. I don't like bleeding off the edges that much as I like something that's self-contained like this. It's me. What do you guys think? Look at this water. This is
It's like a monster. It's gorgeous.
it's a standalone piece.
Well, Joy, you've become a master watercolorist. I mean, you're just, the effects that you get are fantastic. I don't know how you do it. I've tried to do that and I can't do it.
No, mine blurs all together as well. And
Yeah.
Joan, you pointed out, you know, that wonderful little wave coming over the, you know, on the upper right there. That's, I don't know, that's subtraction, how she lifted the blue off, but that's so specific and beautiful. And the rest of it, which is so, you know, blurry, you know, that if it's cobalt or ultramarine or Prussian, whatever blue that is, your harmony of blues is
Yes.
just as gorgeous.
You're right.
I'm stunned.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and this abstract and just use water. I didn't use any brush, just water and that kind of scenic piece, like I don't know. This is softer than a credit card, and just use that to move.
Oh.
And yeah,
See.
sometimes I thought it's failed. I said, oh no, this is not what I want. But after dry, then I make it totally different than I thought. But it looks it's okay.
Well,
I think you're right, Joy. You have to let it dry before you make a, you know, a decision
Yes.
whether it's what you want or not, which I don't have the patience to do half the time.
you mean there's no brushwork to create this area right here?
No brush at all.
Well, how did you get the sharp edge?
After dry,
Uh,
because the paper is not flat. When they get water, the paper is not flat. So the water just, the color with the water just go
it settles into the
lower place. And this is why, this is Chris said, you should wait it to dry.
Did you use salt on that, Joy, on the water on the right side?
over
Use
here.
what?
Salt?
Salt?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I only use I didn't use salt. I just use spray.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, when you spray and the water just like a
It's
salt.
stunning. It's stunning.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Can we see Earth again, Joan? I just love that. How
Mhm.
did you get those blooms like that? Did you use
don't know.
alcohol?
No, this is just when it's a little bit dry and not completely dry, and I drop the water
Oh, okay.
because this
Oh, like-
paper This paper is cheaper, much cheaper than arches on the other professional paper. Just a practice paper. So this paper is good for this kind of painting.
And this is also adorable. I love what's happening with this white stuff.
Ooh.
And Joy, we're going to have to move on real soon because I've got to get Nancy's too.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
How did you do this?
Oh, stay here. It's beautiful.
Water running again over here? Up these little waterfalls?
It's water, yeah. Yes, just water.
Did you tip the
And you move the
paper? Or how
paper.
did you get it to move up like that? Or
Yeah, move the paper. Yeah.
okay, move the paper. Got it. It's gorgeous. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're all
beautiful work.
Yeah.
Beautiful work.
Thank you. Okay.
Now for some boring realism. Well, this is
two things. Yeah.
This is a painting I did for my niece who lives in Colorado, Fort Collins, and they go river rafting. And she sent me a photo. This river is Ruby Horse Thief. It's in obviously a Native American area. It was named after Ruby Horse Thief. Maybe she sold a lot of horses, but the river, the water itself is brown from all the sediment and everything, and very fast moving. So I did this quite a while ago, and I sent it to her as a birthday present. So I kept it simple. I did it quick. So I think maybe that's the answer.
Is oil?
Well,
No, it's acrylic.
Acrylic.
Okay.
you got a lot of
Um,
movement in the water. I like that.
Me
Yeah.
too. A little
Me too.
swirl in
Yeah.
the bottom there.
You can see the water speed move fast.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to. And I probably could have put a person in there, but I didn't want to, because this is as if you are in the raft and you're sweeping by the scene.
Well, Nancy, you must have done this quite a while back because your newer stuff, I have a preference for. This is kind of what you used to do. And
Right. There's a level of amateurishness about it, I guess, which, I learn. I keep my paintings or I give them away to my family. I learn by looking at the old ones and seeing, how I've changed. So thanks for noticing, Joan.
you really have changed. Yeah. I had to whack myself. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. It may be just a little overdone, which is what you used to do. And nowadays, you know when to stop.
Thank you. I'm learning.
Here's something magnificent. This must be new. I love this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
hate still lifes, but I know Sally loves them. We actually did this for, I think it was a watercolor class. And I didn't have a bowl of fruit, so I had to get a copyright-free photo from Pixabay on the internet. So I can't claim the image is not mine. But anyway, I tried to keep the color various and
It's very nice.
Very
thank
nice.
you.
Very vibrant colors.
Mhm.
It's those Winsor Newton professional colors. I mean, they're the half pans. They were like $100 to get, but my God, you put a drop of color down and it is just pure pigment.
Mhm.
So it's worth the money. But like you, Chris, many layers.
Yeah. That turned out great.
Yeah, thank
Really
you.
nice.
Thanks for looking, everybody.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Faya calls these illustrative.
Illustrative, yes.
Good. Yeah, it would be good in a book or,
In a kitchen.
I love what you did to all the details on the apple and really, really nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Now, is this just a watercolor wash in the back?
Yes, it is. That's all it is. I just took it's actually I did it on a crescent board. So it's very, it's paper mounted on a board already. So I didn't have to worry about it buckling, which I like.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
And I
Yeah.
just dragged, a watercolor brush across it in a couple places. And I laid those ink lines down first so I could, suggest the wood seams in the table.
Perfectly done. And it,
Thank you.
Nancy, and do you need use white color on the plum's surface? Use a
Yeah, that's
Chinese
actually a very, very light. I mixed a tiny little bit of white gouache with a little tint of, I
gouache,
think it's a
okay.
blue. Yeah.
you
So
mean back here in the background, you mean?
no, on the plums.
plum.
On the plum.
Yeah.
Oh,
On the
okay.
plum.
Yes.
And also you see a little white on that top apple. That
yes.
has to be gouache too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because once I put the, color down on the paper, particularly this board, you can't pick it up to reveal the white. So I had to add it with gouache.
Yeah.
Nancy, what is that surface of the board like? Is it smooth or does it have some tooth to it?
Doesn't really have any tooth. If you could take my thing off screen, Joan, I think you're gonna probably disappear pretty soon.
Oh, yes.
40
In
minutes.
fact, this is the last one. So why don't I stop this and we'll look at your deal? Okay. We just have a minute or two,
Sure.
but at least
Like wallpaper, watercolor paper, and
let me see. I'm going to see if I can pin you.
Watercolor board.
Watercolor
Okay.
boards.
You're, I've pinned you. You're big now.
Thank you. By
Easily
Crescent.
portable.
I
Wow.
can get them in all sizes, 9 by 12, 11 by 14.
Wonder if I can get that here. I doubt it.
You might
Crescent.
be able to, but it's nice and sturdy. So
It's called
you don't
watercolor
have to
board.
just
Yeah,
so it or
exactly.
anything. The only thing it doesn't have,
Wow.
it doesn't have a lot of texture, but it's dull, so it does and accepts the paint beautifully.
I might
Ah.
go back. I might go back to watercolor because the thing I hated is when the paper wrinkled.
Right, I
Mhm.
know.
I
And
hate
this
it.
doesn't.
Yeah, uh-huh.
They're
Watercolor
made in Wheeling,
board.
Illinois, so
Yeah.
Crescent
Wow.
watercolor boards.
Watercolor board.
I used to live there.
Yes. We're close by.
I
I'm
lived in
like,
Wheeling.
I should just go over there and pick them up rather than get them from
Yeah, pick them
Amazon
up.
or Blix or whatever. So thanks,
hope I
Joan.
can get
Thanks
those.
again for doing all this.
Yeah,
really
thank you,
appreciate it.
Joan.
Hey,
It's
yeah.
great seeing everybody.
Yeah, I won't see you next month. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
on vacation, but
Okay.
hopefully I'll see you in November.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good seeing everyone. And
Thank
Good to see.
Thank you, Joan.
Scott,
Thank
thanks
you,
for,
everybody.
thanks for hanging out with us, although we don't do sculpture.
Beautiful work, Scott. I love your work.
Yes,
And thanks for the
beautiful.
instruction, Joan.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.
Yes,
Bye.
take care. Bye.